Heading south 2005, Haiti late 1970s. Sea, sand and sun for Ellen, Brenda and Shu. Three North American ladies on the wrong side of 40 or 50 odd, going through an enchanted interlude. Lonely, forsaken, neglected by men in their native countries, they can indulge here in carnal exaltation without shame. Thanks to handsome local young men, they pay a few dollars. Ellen is a Boston French literature professor, Brenda, unfulfilled wife from Savannah, Georgia, and Shu, a frustrated but good-natured Canadian factory worker. In this second Garden of Eden, they don't care too much about the neighboring poverty nor about baby dogs' violent dictatorship. The trouble is that 2 of 3 women have sights on a single man Lejba, and Lejba is beginning to be fed up with being a stud. Viaggio Celebrity presents top 20 movies like Heading South. Number 20. Hooking Up 2020. After he received a new cancer diagnosis and she is fired from her job as a columnist, Bailey and Darla take a road trip that forces them to get intimate with their issues, as well as each other. Bailey and Darla embark upon a misguided and mutually deceitful form of therapy, one in which they must drive across the country reenacting Darla's colorful history as a love addict. As their true motivation for the road trip come to light, the unlikely pair force one another to confront their issue, discovering that there might actually be more to love. While filming Hooking Up in Dallas, Brittany Snow filmed her callback audition for the TV show Almost Family at Roll Video's acting studio with coach Jack Watkins. Brittany Snow is far more well known at this point because of the Pitch Perfect series, but she is a little against type here. The movie started playing Sam's character as a more redeemable guy with a few flaws and Brittany's character as an irredeemable girl with a few likable traits, and moved toward the center a bit with both. She probably has the most character development in the movie and she does a great job pulling it off. Number 19. White Sargasse Sea 1993. A young female landowner in 1840s Jamaica marries a just arrived Englishman to avoid losing her property. All seem to be perfect, love arises and happiness is on the way, but she is hiding an old secret regarding her childhood and her mother. Slowly this secret begins to erode this perfect relationship and perhaps her mother's story will begin again with her. Director John Duggan has said of this film during the 1990s in an interview with Signet, "It was probably the only really unsatisfying interaction that I have had with a production company, and I found that I had major disagreement with them and with the producer. It was unfortunate." Jen Sharp, the producer of the film, had the tenacity to get the film made, but she and I had differences of opinion. She was very well informed on the book, and I am sure her opinions were arguable, as I like to think mine were, but when you have a situation like that, I think the whole project can suffer. I think the film did suffer from that division. Curiously enough, it got quite wonderful reviews from most of the heavyweight American reviewers like the New York Times and the New Yorker. Number 18. Obsessed 2009. Derek Charles is a hard-working man employed as an asset manager in a private company. He is very happy with his beautiful wife Sharon and only son, and because of his hard work, he just got a huge promotion. But suddenly he gets a temporary worker who is both attractive and smart, and Derek is understandably impressed with her and also finds himself physically drawn to her. However, this new girl is desperate to get close to him at any cost. The backless red dress Lisa wears to the hotel was sewn from scratch using design elements the actress playing her like from different dresses considered for that sequence. The rest of the garment used in the film were store-bought. According to director Steve Seal, an interracial aspect of the film was originally planned. However, the idea was scrapped, presumably because of similarities to screenwriter David Lowery's previous film Lakeview Terrace. Number 17. Divine Love 2019. Brazil 2027. Jonah, a 40-year-old civil servant, works as a notary at the divorce registration office. but her fervent Christian faith drives her to go beyond her job in an attempt to reconcile separated spouses. In order to do so, she has a secret weapon. She persuaded them to join Divine Love, a group of which she is a member with her husband Danilo, who create flower bouquet at their home. Group reading of holy writing, sermons, purifying immersion. Divine Love has everything you had find in your average run-of-the-mill evangelical community, except that this group also like to get involved in a bit of swinging, on the sole condition that the man's seed is reserved for his legitimate wife, because supreme pleasure comes from the divine desire to procreate life within the family. But Jonah and Danilo are unable to conceive because he is unable to reach a climax despite his best effort. As a result, she has entirely dedicated her existence to God in the hope of a miracle. But when the miracle became a reality, everything began to get a little complicated. Number 16. Turistas 2006. While traveling on vacation through the country of northeastern of Brazil by bus, the American Alex, his sister B and their friend Amy meet the also foreigners Bruce Tegler, Finn Davis and Liam Culler after an accident with their bus. They follow a trek through the woods and find a hidden paradisiacal beach. They decide to stay in the place, drinking beer and dancing funk and partying with the locals, and they meet the amicable Brazilian teenager Kiko. They are drugged with Bonoite's Cinderella. And when they wake up, they are without clothes, with all their belongings, cloth, money, jewels, passport, backpacks, etc. stolen. They walk to a small village trying to find a police station. They get into trouble with the dwellers and they are helped by their acquaintance Kiko, who leads them to his uncle's isolated, well-equipped cabin in the wood to wait for the next bus 2 days later. Along the night, Kiko's uncle arrives with his friends and the group discloses the sinister intention of the newcomers. In one underwater scene, Olivia Wilde's character is supposed to be panicking while trying to find an air bubble. This is actually real, as Olivia missed her mark and could not locate the air bubble. Because it is a wide shot, the safety divers were too far away to get there, but she eventually found the pocket. Number 15. Trouble Every Day 2001. An American newlywed couple, Shane and June Brown, are on their honeymoon in Paris. Very much in love with each other, nevertheless there is more to the happy honeymooners than meet the eye. Shane is desperately looking for a former colleague, Dr. Leo, with whom they work together, conducting dangerous experiment on human libido, while at the same time he is consumed by indescribable and incessant love hunger. As Shane is trying to locate Dr. Leo, unexpected encounter with his wife Cor will force the clueless June to try to understand her husband's strange behavior. But by digging deep into his future, she will soon have to confront Shane's well-hidden inner demons. Number 14. To Each Her Own 2018. In a relationship for 3 years with Clay, Simon has never come out. Between his Ashkenazi mother, who slept herself for years, or no, his father, a traditionalist Sephardic always on the verge of a heart attack, his older brother David, who wants to squeeze her in with his future wife's cousin, or his other brother Nathaniel. Percy with Kevin that the family has never accepted, Simon finds it difficult to exist in broad daylight. So when she succumbs to the culinary talent of Valley, the handsome Senegalese chef, it's the last straw that breaks the camel's back. Torn between Claire, Valley and her family, Simon will have to assert her choices. This is a nice little movie to watch without too many expectations. It is a lot better than the average American comedy. Apart from the plot that is a bit surreal, they depicted the life of average European people in a European environment. A French Jewish family, a French Senegalese chef that is divided between an emancipated life and career, and his family that want to marry him to Senegalese girl. That not everything has to be black or white. Religion and sensuality, for example, can have a lot of shades. Number 13. Summer Things 2002. Two couple of friends, one very rich, the other almost homeless, decide to go on holiday. Julie, a single mother, joins them too. Once at seaside, it starts a complicated love cross among them that will involve also a trans, a jealous brother, a Latin lover, and another nervous stress couple. Not to mention about the daughter of one of them that is secretly in Chicago with one of his father's employee. More at the end of the summer, all of them will join the same party. Director Michael Blank has gathered together a stellar cast for his adaptation of Connolly's book, but to little avail. What should be hilarious is instead it turns tedious and irritating. All the characters are either pathetic or unpleasant or both. And in the end, despite the farcical nature of things, this viewer was left caring little about what happened to any of them. Number 12. Liberated Zone 2003. Sassland, a hopeful little town east of the Elbe in the middle of the 90s. The blooming landscapes are still a bit of a long time coming, but the new freedom invite you to jump on the side. Micah cheats on Sylvia with Kerstin. Sylvia cheats on Micah with Blondie. Blondie cheats on Sylvia with Heidi. Capitalism also offers fatal temptations. The Black Pearl Blondie is now scoring her goals in the local soccer team, which is why an extensive fan merchandise trade is needed. This is how the club's director Otto discovers creative bookkeeping. Upswing East and its consequences are the subject of this first-hand satire, which Norbert Baumgarten, a student at the University of Film and Television Conrad Wolf, directed. Number 11. All About Nina 2018. Nina Geld is a brassingly funny and blisteringly provocative stand-up comedian whose career is taking off, but whose personal life is a near-complete disaster. To escape a difficult ex and to prepare for a prospectively life-changing audition, Nina flees to Los Angeles where she meets Raph, who challenge almost every preconception she has, including those around her own deeply troubled past. Mary Elizabeth Winstead is a dynamite as Nina Geld, and dynamite is meant to have two definitions here. She is terrific in the role and she explored with little notice. Nina Geld is definitively provocative, she is definitively feminist, she is definitely funny, and she is most definitely mess up. We learn all of this in the first 5 minutes and spend the rest of the movie waiting to see whether she self-destructs or is somehow saved. Number 10. The White Slave 2016. In Colombia in 1821, a Spanish plantation gets burned down and only the planter baby is spared. She gets sent to Spain but concoct a plan to return home and become an abolitionist. The White Slave, because blood is the same color, is a production which narrates the story of Victoria, a woman who everyone knows as a Massai, who arrived in America to marry a prosperous merchant from the region. However, the truth is different because years back in that same city she was rescued from death and raised in secret by some slave who became her family. She was taken from the arms of her loved ones and sent to Spain because according to the society of the time, a white woman could not live with slaves and was sent to a nunnery. The song playing when her boyfriend tells her there are other white people is "You've got to hide your love away," a Lennon McCartney composition. This is a great story about a young woman in Colombia during the colonial period who is raised by escaped slaves, eventually makes her way to Spain when the escaped slave colony is overrun, and then return to Colombia hoping to reunite with her slave family and the boy she loved as a child. So although she is white, she identifies with her black family who raised her. This shows the horror of slavery in the Americas in open, pretty gruesome ways. The lead actors are great, the story has lots of subplot and you see the various dimensions of the character because this story unfolds over so many episodes. You will love the scenery and the haciendas where the story takes place. Costumes are not great, especially the dresses of the ladies, which sometimes look like reject from a 1970s thrift shop. That was the only jarring note. The lead actress is very beautiful. Number 9. Sophie and the Rising Sun 2016. Set in the autumn of 1941 in Salty Creek, a fishing village in South Carolina, the film tells the dramatic story of interracial lovers swept up in the tide of history. As World War II rages in Europe, a wounded stranger, Mr. Otta, appears in the town under mysterious circumstances. Sophie, a native of Salty Creek, quickly becomes transfixed by Mr. Otta, and a friendship born of their mutual love of art blossoms into a delicate and forbidden courtship. As their secret relationship evolves, the war escalates tragically when Pearl Harbor is bombed. A surge of misguided patriotism, bigotry and violence sweep through the town, threatening Mr. Otta's life. A trio of women, each with her own secrets, Sophie along with the town matriarch and her housekeeper, reject law and propriety, risking their life with their actions. This movie marked the second collaboration between Juliana Nicholson and Margot Martindale. They previously appeared together in August, Osage Country. Number 8. Shelter 2014. Tahir, an illegal immigrant from Nigeria, and Hannah, a heroin addict, live homeless on the street of Manhattan. Tahir, a devout who is polite to everyone he meets, survive by performing music in city parks while Hannah lies still and sells her body to get her next fix. When Tahir saves Hannah from a suicide attempt, the two form a friendship. Over the years that follow, they share their past and their friendship turn to love. Their circumstances begin to improve, but Tahir falls ill and eventually joins his wife and child who died in Nigeria. His love for Hannah helped her overcome her addiction and return to her son in California. Director Paul Bettany is married to leading actress in the film Jennifer Connelly. Jennifer Connelly lost 25 pounds for her role as Hannah and practiced for months to be comfortable with drug paraphernalia. Paul Bettany and Jennifer Connelly's apartment was in front of a homeless couple that disappeared after Hurricane Sandy. The film is dedicated to them. Paul Bettany highly regards the help Paula Hudubro gave in getting the film shots Paul felt were necessary in telling the story, especially the different aspect ratio during the different part of the film. Number 7. Princess Sid 2017. Sid Laughlin, a headstrong 16-year-old, is sent away from her home in Columbia, South Carolina, to spend the summer in Chicago with her estranged Aunt Miranda, an author of religious fiction. Though things are awkward at first, the two gradually become more close. As the summer progresses, they get to know each other over going out for meals, walk around the neighborhood, and sunbathing. Both women become more like the other, with Sid becoming more cultured and Miranda more easygoing. Sid's mother passed away when she was young, and the two discuss whether she is waiting for them in heaven. Sid explores her sensuality, developing a romance with a local barista named Katie, as well as a neighborhood boy. Miranda and her colleague Anthony have romantic feelings for one another, but neither are willing to make the first move. Sid privately suggests to both of them that they should ask the other one on a date. This is really cute feel-good movie, but somehow very down to earth and realistic. It shows how women in different life stages can grow as persons regarding their sensuality, spirituality, and spreading horizons. Also, Sid and Katie have a good chemistry. They are a little bit awkward in the beginning, but they are getting more comfortable over the time. Number 6. Obsession 2019. Before meeting George Good, Sonny Jordan was just a lost drifter with a troubled past floating from town to town looking for work. As fate would have it, Sonny ended up saving George's life from a murderous back alley mugger. As thanks, George gives Sonny a home and a job as a mechanic on his farm in the lonely Louisiana bayou. Sonny quickly settles in and make himself useful around the place, but then Sonny meet Larissa, George's alluring wife. She has a mysterious past and the two are irresistibly drawn to each other. The two begin a passionate affair, leading them to construct a twisted plot to take George's life in cold blood in order to be together. As their despicable plan unravels, they learn how far they are willing to go to cover their misdeed. Mackie Piper, who is usually a fine actor, doesn't fare all that well here with subpar material. There is so little chemistry between him and Elika Portnoy, who deliver a sleepy and largely ineffectual performance as the stock hot wife character, that their love scene quickly become uncomfortable to watch. We are supposed care about and root for them, but there's nothing there to get invested in, which is a death knell for stories like this. Number 5. Where the Heart Is, 1998. Clem and Babe have grown up together in a blue-collar neighborhood in Marseille. When Babe is 18 and Clem is 16, they fall in love. She becomes pregnant and the situation is welcomed with surprise and joy from their working class families. But on a bad day, Babe is unjustly accused of rape by a racist cop and he is arrested. The families of the two must now fight to disprove the unfounded accusation. Admirers of Maris and Jeanette will not be disappointed by Goodiguion's latest film. This is arguably the finest Europeanization of an American novel of recent years. The film treats interracial relationship and racism in totally natural and unforced way that bring out human values in a manner reminiscent of Reno and a style reminiscent of Brazil. Number 4. The White Massal, 2005. Carola, a German woman living in Switzerland, is on holiday with her boyfriend in Kenya. She falls in love with Maasai warrior Lemelin, who is visiting dressed in the clothing of his area. At the airport on the way home, she decides to stay. It turned out that Lemelin has gone to his home village in the Samburu district. Carola traveled to the area and stayed at the house of another European woman. Lemelin hears about her stay and comes to meet her. Eventually, they start living together. She traveled to Switzerland to sell her soap there, promising Lemelin to come back to him. She does, and they marry and have a daughter. Carola buys a car and starts a shop. They lose money on the shop because Lemelin gives too much credit to friends and neighbors, and because they have to pay bride to the mini chief. Lemelin argues that this is no problem because she has more money in Switzerland. The cast and crew live in tent among the Samburu during the entire shoot. They also study their language and customs. The White Massal is one of the most incredible romances. The reason is not racial, but how the bourgeois Carola could leave her middle-class lifestyle to live with Lemelin in the middle of nowhere in his tribe of shepherds. The acting is top-notch as well as the cinematography. Number 3. Les Secrets, 2000. Mary is a seemingly happy woman married to Francois for 12 years and with her 2-year-old child Paul. However, there is disagreement within the family since Francois is keen to have another child but Mary is hesitant. During the course of Mary's job as an encyclopedia saleswoman, she meets Tony, an African American living in Paris at a friend's villa. Before long, they are having an affair. Although horrified to an extent by her own behavior, Mary makes little attempt to hide the fact from Francois. The movie wisely displays the act of betraying a husband without commenting it too much. It explains with little hint how passion takes over the life of the protagonist. With that parallel relationship, she finds the time to see what she needs, what the physical contact really means for her. So it helps to understand a bit more of the mind of such persons. Contrary to another comment, it's really unrealistic, but the movie just shows how secretive people go through deep private experiences. And while they do so, they will eventually clash with people who, if they are normally open and talkative and get confronted with this, turn into anxious, unsure and possessive partner in such relationship. Les Secrets is a fairly mediocre French film which focuses on a woman's attempt to find some existentialist truth or some such crap through the exploration of rather graphic romance. In that sense, it is a little like Breillat's romance, but it seems to lack that film's intensity of design. So for the most part it seems distant and close. There is an expectation of the conclusion which is not met, and the film is to some extent redeemed by this ending. Number 2. House of Sand 2005. In 1910, in Maranhão, the insane Vasco de Gama moves with his pregnant urban wife Oria and her mother Maria to a wilderness land near a lagoon and surrounded by shifting dunes. Sooner, his worker abandoned the place and Vasco dies, leaving the two women alone and without any resources. They are supported by a local son of a former slave Massai, and they learn how to survive creating gods. Along the years, Oria raises her daughter Maria, hoping to move back to the capital someday. Her hope becomes anguish and despair as years go by, until her final adaptation to the place. Director Waddington wrote the two lead roles especially for his wife Miss Toss and his mother-in-law Mrs. Montenegro. The movie was filmed entirely in the Lancois Maranhenses National Park, an ecosystem of sand dunes in Maranhão State. This is a stunning film visually and emotionally. Although rooted in a forsaken sandy wasteland, the film is a metaphor for how circumstances locate us and how we can or cannot get out of the place in which we find ourselves. House of Sand must be seen on the big screen. Never has landscape been more compelling. It's a literary film, which is to say that it is not full of exciting, unrealistic events. Number 1. Paradise Love 2012. 50-year-old Austrian woman Teresa is on holiday in a beach resort in Kenya. With the encouragement of other middle-aged women at the resort, she encounters younger men and has affair with them. At the same time, she worries whether they really find her attractive, and she often expresses concern about her age, weight and appearances. Although the men profess love for her, some from the first moment they see her, she is wary at first. The men persist, calling her treasure and love, but ultimately they are soliciting her money. The importance of this sugar mama tourist is evident when the women leave the resort and are constantly solicited and approached by a group of men who profess their love in German and English. She builds a brief relationship with a man named Munga, who has an affair with her and introduces her to a woman he claims is his sister. Together they convince Teresa to give them several thousand shillings for their relatives in the hospital and for her baby by claiming that his father abandoned her. Over the course of a few scenes, Munga and his relative manage to pressure her into giving more and more money until her wallet is literally empty. This movie vividly documents the repercussions of living out fantasies without thinking of the other person. The location shot make clear the disparity between the visitor and the local people. The tourist hotel aspires to luxury, yet it's sad and artificial, with live entertainment that looks sadly out of place. There is a dividing line between the hotel and the beach, dividing Europe as one person calls it from Africa.